and welcome to another episode of Adam's Kitchen on Trust TV. I am Adam Mani Angora, in continuation with our program where we teach some dishes, as we always say, ranging from local to perhaps maybe international dishes. So in our episode today, we are going to demonstrate how to prepare a sort of unique okra soup, and also to be served with tuwo, or what usually is called a swallow in Nigeria, which is going to be prepared, of course. So before we dive into the program, let us go for a short break, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As we mentioned earlier on, okra soup is going to be prepared with whole wheat swallow. So for the whole wheat swallow, or tuwo, which is in Hausa called tuwon alkama, all we need is the whole wheat flour, which is readily available here. And also we have the okra, which is the main ingredient for making the soup. We also have spinach. We have some buns, which some call brisket buns. Some even call it biscuit bun, and I think it's normally called tantakwashi in Hausa. And also we are going to use some daddawa, some dried ginger, fresh ginger, red onions, some spring onions, some tomatoes, some salt, and some seasoning. We are also going to use red oil, and of course water. This is going to be a simple dish, but also mighty, and therefore we are going to start right now. So what we will do first is to get our buns, our tantakwashi, inside of the pot, and we'll go ahead and start our fire. So having started our fire, we'll go ahead and add some water in it and let it boil for some time. And this is something that we want to be as soft as possible. So usually people would blend the tomatoes and what have you, but in our situation here, we are going to actually pound it with mortar and pestle. Maybe because of perception, in my perception, somehow if you do this kind of thing, which we call jajjage, you get the most amazing aroma, and you get the best part of the ingredients. But of course, if you want to blend it, you can go ahead and do the blending. So while I'm getting this cooked, I'll now go ahead and begin to blend my tomatoes and so on. And also for the okra, I'm going to do something a little bit, perhaps to some, unusual. It's going to be of two parts. Partly will be grated, and partly will be cut into, will be sliced into smaller pieces. So the hybrid of blended okra and also sliced one, to me, somehow gives the soup an amazing look and also taste. So let me just go ahead and begin to cut my okra before I now go ahead and pound the tomatoes, onions, and so on. So having um, cut some amount of the okra. I'm now going to go and grate the rest of the okra. Okay, our okra is now grated. So the next thing I would like to do is to give it a little heat with just a little amount of water. A little amount of water. I'll now put the sliced okra here. And also I'm going to add the grated one. Add it all together. I can now add some water again. So while I am getting this cooked, I'll now go ahead and pound the tomatoes, and always don't forget to remove the seeds, cut them out. So this one I can now put it off, cover it for a while when I get my pepper and breast pounded. So here I'm going to pound them all. Now getting ready for the next step. So what I will do now is our tentokoshi is ready. I'll now go ahead and take it off the pan. So and now let's do this. I'm starting my fire again, and this time what I'm going to do is to add my red oil, or I should say palm oil. So I have now added the palm oil. I will now allow it to get very hot, and then I will add my pounded tomatoes, onions, garlic, and so on. But before then, I will now need to grate some ginger. So we now have some ginger, fresh ginger grated, and our oil has gotten very hot. So what I'll now do is to go ahead and add this. And give it a fry. We'll fry it. And then I will now add some salt in it. And my daddawa will also be added now. Some dried ginger, and also the fresh ginger will also be added. And then I will add some seasoning. And then continue to fry it for some time. While I do this, let me get my water on fire to prepare for making our tuwon alkama. So with this, I will now go ahead and add our tantakwashi. So at this point now, what I'll do is to, of course, add my okra. So depending on how much of the red oil you do want, and also looking at the quantity of the okra that you have, you can actually do it to your own taste. And in our situation, going by the quantity of the okra and also the quantity of my palm oil, I can now have the option to reduce it so that I can use it for another purpose, and then keep what is enough for me to prepare this soup. So what I'll do now is to to reduce some of my red oil and transfer it here. Okay, and now we'll keep the rest. I can always add as I need. So it's time to add the okra in here. Since we already parboiled the okra, we can now go ahead and add some quantity of our spinach into it and give it a stir. And of course, while making your soup, you can always taste to determine whether you need some more salt or not. So with this, I can now lower the heat. I can put the fire really low, so as to maintain the sticky nature of the soup. Because if you apply too much heat, all this would be lost. So with this, I can now go ahead and add a little amount of water. And allow it to continue to simmer for some time. And also, depending on how you want the thickness, you can always add water as needed. And also, I will now add some chopped onions in it. Now we are good. Since the water has boiled, we are now good to add the whole wheat flour that has been mixed with water. And now go ahead and add it to form talge. Can rinse it a bit. So I've now turned off the fire as our soup is awesomely ready. So with this, I'll just give it a cover, cover it while trying to complete my tour on a finishing line, you know. It will soon be done. So I can now begin to thicken the tour. So our tuwon alkama is getting ready, almost done. While we await for it to complete, let us go for a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Our tuwo is ready now, and let us go ahead and check it. Yes, it is well ready, and we will now turn the fire off and then begin to do the serving. Okay, and bring my plates out, and then do the serving of the tuwon alkama. So it all depends on your desire for the tuwo. If you like, you can make it thicker than this. If you like, you can make it just like this. Or if you like, you can make it even lighter than this. Okay. So with this, we'll now go ahead and add our stunning okra soup to the plate. So the tuwo has now been served. As you can see, the soup is getting it's looking really beautiful. It's so colorful. You know, we don't put too much of the palm oil. Like, everything is just awesome. And also our tuwo is looking really nice, and I can't wait really to test this. So with this, we have now brought this episode to an end, and it is our hope that you will do join us again in our next episode. Don't forget that you are watching Adam's Kitchen on Trust TV. Until then, bye bye.